Hello trainers, and welcome to the making of the thumbnail for Koffing. This was a once again, it's kind of funny how episodes tend to come out right around the holiday that I made them for, so this one happened to come out around 420, which I found very entertaining. This one only took me about a half hour to make, because thankfully Koffing doesn't really have many details to fuss with. I'm once again trying to learn that technique of flipping the screen back and forth. It seems to be like a trade marker for a lot of artists to do that to try to keep the proportions right. Even with that though, I kind of struggled with trying to get these eyes even. I just got really hung up, and I think I used too big of an eraser when trying to tune it in, so I would end up hacking off way more than I needed to or wanted to. So I just tried to get it close enough and used some shine to cover up some of the little accidents. But otherwise, with that being good enough, as north of the border would say, I moved on to the mouth and gave it that big, happy kind of cat smile that I never really realized that Koffing had. And even with the little toothy grin, it's a big cat ball. Yeah, it's not quite as pronounced on the original that I have there for reference, but it still entertained me. So for the inside of the mouth, I used a circular gradient. I used the original colors from the sample and then used the center to be about where the tongue was. I was trying to have the bright part be the tongue, but it wasn't quite working out because the tongue's more oval. So I just go in with the pink color and just block out a tongue. I like using the gradient for the inside of the mouth because it gives it a bit more of that depth. So now we're doing the border. Koffing is spheres on spheres, especially when you give it big plots of land. So yeah, I just used the Trinity circles and then erased the extra lines that I didn't need. And then added all Koffing's little vents and warts, I guess they would be, because some of them are vents. I don't think all of them are vents. I think like the very tiny ones are more like kind of similar to warts or moles. It's a very, very bumpy Pokemon. And I decided not to quite give it a big body, because sometimes with these levitating disembodied Pokemon, I kind of enjoy the aesthetic of just slapping boobs on them, and then they're just a big floating pair of boobs. I did that with Rotom when they were like a tiny thing, and I don't know, it entertains me. I like it a lot, because it's just so silly. Doing the center design instead of the skull and crossbones, I went with the more cheeky kind of Valentine and crossbones, because, you know, it's an OC anyway, why not have some fun? Doing the little ball ends for where the joints would be for the bone. And then blocking in my traditional Ditto coloring. Again, trucking along, the Pokemon part itself was honestly not too bad. I mostly got tripped up on the eyes, and otherwise everything else was circles and colors and a very simple design to do. The other half, it was basically half of this was the Pokemon, half of this was the gas, which is now what we're moving on to. Kind of tracing out kind of popcorn shapes. Not traditionally cloud shapes. It's got more of the cartoony curve lumps to it for that billowing. And then I use render clouds, because render clouds is just my god tool for a lot of textures, using the original gassy colors. One thing I think I could have done to kind of elevate it would be to have added more shadow to it, because in cartoony styles with some clouds, like especially gas clouds, you could have a darker shading around it to emphasize how thick the cloud is, as opposed to like this haze that I'm putting on, because I'm having it where it's Koffing has been puffing up for a while. And then using the original body color for the background, as I like to do. I then also decided to have some more, like, background clouds. Because in the original sketch, I mainly just had the initial, kind of similar to the Pokemon card reference, where it's just these stray little clouds around them. I wanted this room to look just completely gassed out, so I added more depth with some darker shades of gas clouds behind them. And then I'm also blurring it. I can't quite remember. I think I'm using like the Gaussian blur to just soften it up so it looks more like a gas rather than actual like clumps of cotton or popcorn. And again, putting that thick haze of like the previous clouds having thinned out already. Also, it kind of hides the fact that there's no body, so it tastefully censors them while also keeping some mystery to their anatomy. And then it made the front layer translucent so that the logo can show through a bit, because I've been trying to be more mindful of the logo like playing with the Pokemon subject, and I tried doing that with the background, but I wanted those to be a bit more solid so that they actually have more depth to them. Now I'm looking for what text I want to use for the number, because each of them I tried to have the number text be kind of relevant, so I went with this kind of traditional flower hippie type of text for episode number 35, using the original Koffing color and then the white around it to help it stand out. That little layering trick has been just so nice for the most recent thumbnails. Then, of course, as most artists do, you go in to nitpick very fine details that no one's ever going to really see, but you know it's there. So I'm going in and trying to clean up the edges around the numbers. Yep, I'm doing the little step back to look at everything, and then we go on to our favorite part of the shine. Because despite all the haze, I still want shine on there. Still give it that gleam. There is one little shine spot. I realized afterwards that I forgot to blend out, but it's only on one little nub, so it's not too bad. Just something I need to watch for. Because something I'm trying to do with each of these thumbnails is not get too hung up on all my little mistakes. It's just when I look back on them, it's like, oh, well, I should try this next time or keep this in mind next time. And with my journey through all these thumbnails, I feel like I have been improving overall, and it's honestly really nice to see. So yeah, you'll see that like kind of lower lump still has a not quite blurred out shine, but it's all right. I think it looks fun. It looks goofy because it's a very not serious episode. It's a very just a chill out, hang out kind of 420 episode. It'll be linked in the connotations at the end of this. But otherwise, yeah, that is Koffing. I hope you enjoyed watching my clouding technique. You can see early access to these art pieces and also the full episodes that they are associated with on my Patreon and Subscribestar. And I hope to see you in the next catch. Bye-bye.